to recognize its achievements and the contribution to our country. So, Senior Counsel Pheroze.
Let's give a round of
Because in Kenya or anywhere where state actors are the richest businessmen, your competitors are also used to getting their way in business as much as in politics. Now, the safeguard for rational business is the rule of law. So the rule of law encompasses fair and impartial judges, equality of parties before the court, remedies for breach of agreements, independence of the judiciary, but, and I'll come to this later, independence of public officials, the civil service, I mean, and access to all this, these protections, is what is set out, and the visible and the public contract of the rule of law between all Kenyans and all parties in Kenya is the Constitution. And for this demand, we have to thank the Gen Zs. Because the Gen Zs did not only speak for themselves, they spoke for the silent people in Kenya who had not spoken up, and any whole scientific, intuitive or whatever would say that when the Gen Z spoke, 80%, if not more, of the country said, yes, that's exactly correct. That politics is without rules in Kenya, but we should technically also look at it. How is that? What are we really saying technically? Technically, we are saying that whatever is being done is contrary to the Constitution. But it is contrary to the Constitution while there is already a Constitution in force. And so you have a Constitution in place and governance which is contrary to it at the same time. And so, while there has been a constitution in Kenya for long, we have had total control over the judges' decisions, torture chambers at Nyayo House, regular assassinations, Robert Oko, Bishop Muge, J.M. Kariuki, Karimi Nduthu, Pio Pinto, Boya, Ngala, Father Kaiser, the IBC murder, as Macbeth said, will that long line continue forever? And yes, there is a real danger that authoritarian regimes reach that point where they tip over without solutions into this course of conduct, and they think that the assassination of one person ends their problems. And so, while from 25th June, they have looked for the one person or institution or organization which, if they can eliminate, they would put an end to the nonsense that these youngsters are doing. So they looked for these persons and said, this is Uhuru. And then they said, no, it is Raila. And then they said, no, and came up with Ford Foundation. And then they said, no, 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 because he's meeting Ford Foundation a few days ago, forgetting that his wife was a recipient of that Ford Foundation money, and no doubt, because they're very generous, was passing on that money to them. The contradiction, contra-constitutionalism, has an inevitable end. It breaks the country, because the country is torn between the two, and neither has a solution to offer to the wrongs that are going on in the country, or even the rights. And so, in 2008, we broke. Divided country, no solution, no belief in the presidency, no belief in the courts, no belief in the churches, no belief in the mosques, no belief anywhere. And that break in 2008, we were fortunate, we survived it, and we barely survived it, and we worked towards a new constitution and came to Constitution of Kenya 2010 to prevent a repetition. But we are now again still threatened by contra-constitutional governance and rule. Indulge me to explain how is it possible to have a constitution and yet rule like this, a one-man rule, a one-party rule. And there are three constituents. There are many, but three major ones. The first one is taking total control of the judges and magistrates. By doing that, this deprives any political opponents, any person who has suffered an injustice, without a remedy, to bring such persons to become without a remedy. And when they have no remedy, this control continues and contra-constitutionalism continues. Secondly, and this is what escapes our sight, because it's not as visible, and it is this: by taking not only control of the judges and magistrates, number two, control of the civil servants, which is now called the public service. So, President Moi would rule every morning. He was an extremely hard worker. He would be up at 4, and he had an arrangement with God that I'll pray to you daily, but you don't audit too closely what I do the rest of the hour. So, what happens is, Moi then instructs the provincial commissioner to tell the police to go and arrest Mr. Orengo. Now, you don't hear about that step being taken because the policemen say, well, what is the charge? What shall we? And the president would say, well, that's your problem. You go and find a cause to arrest him. I want him out from this situation here. So you don't see that. He is arrested, and then the instruction goes to the treasury saying, take away the allocation of this district in Nyanza. James comes from Siaya, and see that the road which was to be built there is stopped. And then rings up the DO there and says, tell them, everybody, at the next baraza, that the road is spoiled because Nyanza is making trouble through Mr. Orengo. None of this is in the newspapers, and this is going on all over the country.